Hello everybody, we're back for round 2. We're talking about the workshop, Streamline Those Benjamins. And today I'm going to go through the worksheet that we're going to go through during the workshop. So it's pretty intensive, I'm going to go through it pretty quick, but it'll give you an idea of what you'll get when you sign up for the workshop and what you'll be able to walk away with. So let's get this started. For this, you can see here that we're going to start with the day 1. When you first come into the workshop on the first day, the only thing I ask is that you come in with a list of your expenses. That means everything from thumb drives to your studio rent to your own personal expenses also. We're going to separate them out and we're going to talk about the difference between variable and fixed expenses. This is an example for photographers. We're going to keep with this photographer example, but it works for any service-based business. So here you can see that the variable expense, we're going to separate them out a little bit and we're going to allocate them into different sections depending on how you use your expenses. This will all be made clear in the workshop. Everything that you see that's in tan are things that you can change yourself. So the really cool thing about this worksheet and the workshop is you can change everything from year to year as your expenses grow or change or you use different vendors. All you have to do is fill out these numbers, the numbers that it costs you. You put in your different studio expenses, and then everything else in white, it automatically calculates it for you. So it makes it very easy for you. Same thing with your fixed expenses. We're going to talk about the difference between fixed expenses and cost of doing business and how those get interchanged sometimes and it gets very confusing. So we're going to talk about that at the workshop. We're going to talk about your cost of living and what that means for your personal expenses and how you can start to better estimate your taxes, what you need for the year to be able to pay yourself. We're going to go through all of that. And then, so this is the first part of the first day that we're going to break this down and really start to understand that. The second half of the day, we're going to go through this. I know it looks a little intimidating right now because it's all filled out, but it will be blank. We're going to go through it one step at a time, so it won't be quite so overwhelming once we're in the workshop. But this is what it'll look like once it's filled out. So you have these different things where every time you see a client, you're spending money on your client, whether that means you're handing them a packet or you're meeting them for a consultation. We want to make sure that we're understanding what those expenses are and that we're allocating for that in the pricing, that we can have enough revenue to know what our cost is going to be, but still be able to pay for our fixed expenses and pay ourselves in the end, because that's the most important thing. So we have all of these where we fill out every single time we see our client, how much are we spending on them, and this can change. Again, everything in tan is what you can fill out yourself. So this can change per business, and you can really make it your own, fully customize it to be yourself. It just automatically does all the calculation pieces for you. If I'm going to a consultation and I'm buying a client a drink, 2 drinks, if it's a wedding client, buying them both a drink, maybe we're each having 2 drinks, I need to be able to know what those costs are going to be. They also maybe get a flyer when they come in or when I see them for the consultation. So that means that my cost that I estimate is about $57 per wedding client every single time I see them. Next, we're going to go over here and we're going to divvy up your services, what you offer your client. If your client were to see a full list of services that you offer them, what would that look like? They might not see that when you first hand a wedding client a menu, but maybe you want to be able to do elopements and a smaller coverage and add a second shooter or take away a second shooter if that's included in your packages. This is going to be a list of your full menu for each client. We're going to work all of that out. We're going to work out what you would charge for this. So your price is right here. This is something you set yourself. And in the workshop, we're really going to talk about how price, cost, and what you pay yourself weave together. So, and then again, here you fill this out, but this is a drop-down menu. All of these are drop-down menus. So they're from information you already inputted, so you don't have to fill anything out again or twice. You just put in what you have put in previously and it brings in the numbers for you, so you don't have to add anything or figure everything out yourself. But the cool thing is, from this, you're able to see how much time you're spending on each service, how much you should probably estimate to be able to pay yourself based on that. And again, you fill all this in yourself. Based on the price you are saying that you are going to charge for this service, how much is left over. So see, here we have a $500 margin left over. That's from the revenue we bring in, all of our expenses, and after we estimate being able to pay ourselves. This is just the first day. So after the first day, you'll be able to fill all these in on your own, go back into your business, really think about how you want to be able to serve your clients and be able to offer what you want to offer your clients. And then as you have questions throughout the week or throughout the month, you come back, we can answer all those questions, we can talk about them and really digest the best strategies, and then we go into day 2. So here we are back at it. We're going to go through now what we're going to go through on day 2. So we first talked about on day 1, we're really going to dive in and understand our expenses and how different expenses impact our business in different ways. And then on day 2, we're really going to start to build our packaging, what our clients see and what they want. And if we give them a list of pricing, we don't necessarily want to give them a list of 500 or 100 different services that we offer. We want to give them a list of 3 that pertain to them, and they might be packaged together. So if you're a wedding photographer, that might look like 8 hours of coverage, an album, a second shooter, and I don't know, save the date cards. If you are a graphic designer, that might look like a logo that you put together for the business and a website designer, a rough website with like a few pages. Or maybe that looks like an upgrade on their logo and a full e-commerce website. It depends what your business is, who your clients are, and how you put that together, but you don't necessarily want to give them a list of 500 things. Maybe you do, and we can work with that also, but you might want to package them together so that your clients see it in a very simple way that makes sense for how they're going to use it in their business. So here we have the first page of day number 2. Again, we're going to go through this. This is filled out now, so it looks a little bit intimidating, but we're going to go through this in the workshop. It's going to, the version that you go through for your own specific business will be blank, and so it'll look a little less intimidating. But here is where we're going to go through a package breakdown. So this is an example for wedding photography, but we have examples for portrait photography, for graphic design, for any kind of service related business, and however you want to build that. So here we have base coverage here, and then we start to build package 1, package 2, package 3. You can fill this out however you want. Everything in tan you can change yourself. There are drop downs from what you entered before. It's very simple and straightforward and unbreakable. So here, say we're doing package 1 here, and we're going to add in an extra hour for just one shooter. We're not having a second shooter in there. So we start to see that this changes the numbers here for you. Instead of 5%, we want to give our clients for this package a 10% discount, so we can say to them, you're going to get a discount instead of ordering all of these separately. And we can say, instead of $32.40, which is what this 10% discount brings it to, we're going to make it $3,300. Oops, not 330, $3,300. So we can say to our client, you're actually saving $300 by doing this package instead of buying them separately one at a time. So here we can see that the revenue that we're bringing in is after the credit card fee, because everybody always forgets that, but that's standard 3%, and almost everybody pays credit cards now, and all companies and businesses should accept credit cards. It's so easy. So, but we want to make sure we're accounting for that. So really what we're bringing into our business is $3,200. And then here we have all these expenses that we listed out before, and every single time we see our client. So every client, we see them for a consultation, and we give them a packet, and we give them a gift. These are all made up. You can change it for your business. then we have to deliver their photos, and that costs us money. So we can see that the money we're bringing in is $3,200. What we're spending based off how many times we see our client is $381. And then here we've also previously inputted a cost for doing all this. So maybe for this 8 hours of coverage, that includes some gear rental. If you're a graphic designer, here will be things like fonts, websites, stock photos, things like that you need to be able to deliver to your client, and you don't necessarily want to invoice them for every single little thing that you put together. So we can see that the total cost of this is $800 of just shooting the wedding, just to be able to shoot it and deliver it to our client. Our cost as a business is $800 in this example. This is where in the workshop we're going to start to think about the difference between paying ourselves a salary and paying ourselves per job. Because most creative businesses go through a level of feast and famine, and we want to be able to pay ourselves a regular rate, whether it's famine or feast. So that means estimating to be able to pay ourselves a salary. That's the goal. We're going to get there. But for now in this workshop or in this worksheet, we want to make sure that our time is covered for every single package and job that we're doing. It's also a way to help us keep accountable for, like I said, that I am only going to allocate for, in this example, I'm for an 8 hours of coverage, 30 hours for editing, for the time with the client, for all of that. That means if you start to creep up on that, then you're working for free at that point. So as a business, it gives you some mental accountability to stick to that 30 hours. So here we can see that if we're paying ourselves what we've estimated we need to pay ourselves, the total cost, damn it, my phone went off. The total cost with the wage included is $2,600. So, and that's including with the cost that it costs us to shoot, just to like be able to deliver the product to the client. So now, but we're going to end up taking all of our wages later to make sure we can pay for a salary. That's more just like a mental note to make sure you can be able to cover that in what you're pricing your items and for your client. So then what we really want to look at is up here where it says package overview. In the package overview, we can see that what we've built, this is the revenue that we're bringing in per job. So we have for base coverage, package 1, package 2, and package 3. And then we have the cost for each of those that it costs us just to be able to deliver that to our client. This doesn't include wage right now. And then we go through the most important thing, which is the contribution margin. We're going to go over what that means in the workshop. But here we have what is left over, what gets contributed to our business to cover fixed expenses and salary. So per wedding, in this example, we have $2,300 to be able to pay ourselves for that 35 hours of time or 38 hours of time, and to be able to go towards all of the fixed expenses for the year. So we're going to go over what all of that means, but these are the numbers to focus on. I put contribution margin in here, and cost of revenue total and revenue. I put some of these like actual accounting words in there. Even though it's confusing to the normal human person, I put it in there for a few reasons. For one, it's important to know as a business what that means. But more importantly, I want you to be able to take this worksheet to your accountant, to your business advisor, to your financial advisor. They will know these terms. So it's important that you be able to communicate to them. And you're going to get some packets and all of that goes through what these terms mean. But it's important that you're treating yourself seriously and that you can go into your accountant, they look at this and be able to say, oh, I know exactly what you should do. Or here's some great strategies. You're not having to start from step 1. You get to start from step 5 in that situation. So here we move on to figure out what this looks like for the whole year, because that's really our goal, is to be able to estimate this for the year. So we go into this worksheet. This is the second part of day 2. And we go into what we estimate for the year. So we're focusing up here for now. So what we estimate for the year. So we can change these, again, everything in tan. So say we have, we'll say it's 4 base coverages, 7 of package 1, 10 of package 2, and we'll say 3 of package 3. And then you can change this for the portrait and family too. In this example, we're using session time, and then people buy packages after, but we can change that however you want to work it for your business. And we see that for the total for the year for just weddings, we have a revenue of $90,000, a cost of that of little over $25,000, and the contribution margin of $64,000. So $64,000 to go towards paying ourselves and all the fixed expenses for our business. Here we have some other breakdowns where you can start to use some real strategic thinking about where you're putting your marketing dollars, where you're spending your time, what kind of clients you want to get, where all of your money is coming from. So like an hour spent, we have amount of hours spent per year and what that means for how much you're paying yourself, like a per hour rate. So we get a good breakdown of each area that you're choosing to put in your business, and you're able to start making some decisions based on what the whole year looks like from that, with all the money coming in from that year looks like. So this is day 2. Again, at the end of day 2, you're able to go home, if you take an integrated workshop that is, you're able to go home, really tweak all of these numbers on your own, have a bunch of questions, come back, get those answered, and then we're going to go on and really start think about strategic planning for the year and for growth of your business. That's day 3. All right, we're back. Day 3. So we went through day 1, allocating expenses, understanding each different expense. Day 2 was piecing out pricing and offerings of our client and starting to get a bigger picture for the whole year. So this is where we ended for day 2. Day 2 was about really allocating or understanding what the whole year might look like based on how many different things we sell. Day 3 is where I think it gets really cool. But that's because I'm a total nerd. But in day 3, so this is where we end. We're going to start here. Based on the numbers we put in, we've seen and went over that we have $100,000 of revenue for our business, $33,000 for the cost, which means we have $70,000 total to play with. And this sounds like a lot of money for a creative, but we also have to remember that this is for the whole year. So if you're doing 20 or 30 weddings a year, if you're thinking, maybe you're not, but if you're thinking $70,000 is a lot of money, I've never seen that much money in my bank account. This is over a whole year. So yeah, you might have brought in $70,000, but you've had to pay for all of your rent or mortgage for yourself. You've had to pay for your cost of doing business for your fixed expenses throughout the year. So yeah, maybe you didn't see that all at one time. Your bank account never got up to $70,000, but theoretically, this is what all the money that went into and out of your business throughout that whole year. So we have here the overview of what we put in. This is what your accountant's going to want to see. This is what your financial advisor cares about. This is really like the nuts and bolts of a business. We have the pretty graphic over here where you can start to get the breakdown of what the business looks like. The cool thing is here, say we go back to, where we're putting in what we're estimating for the year. So maybe we had a rough year this year. We only did 3 base coverages. We did 4 package 1s, 3 package 2s, and 1 package 3. So we've gone down quite a bit from $100,000 to $34,000. The cool thing, let me click on back to annual, is that before this wasn't red. This was white, just like everything else. It turned red because based off the numbers we put in, we can't pay ourselves the full amount in order to pay ourselves a salary. So this is where you start to think as a business, okay, how do I bring in more money? Because you still have to pay for all of your expenses. A lot of those are non-negotiable. You still get charged for all of those things, for your studio, for your rent, for all of those. So you can start to break down your fixed expenses for your business to try to like get that down. Maybe you're not spending as much dollars in your marketing. Maybe you can't go to a conference this year because your bookings are low. But you can start to change all of that so you'll be able to pay yourself. But it turns red like this when you can't pay yourself the full amount that you've estimated you need to be able to pay yourself to live. So the other cool thing is this also estimates your taxes. So we go through a personal, let me change this back to where we were before. So let's say we have 4 of these, 6 of these, 10 of these, and 2 of these. So now we're back up to making more money in this area. And we're going to go back to the annual taxes. We have a little bit of profit now. This isn't red anymore. We're able to pay ourselves the full amount we estimated. This goes into personal taxes that we withheld, and then additional taxes. So this estimates your taxes for you, right? This is an example for if you're living in Oregon, and if you file, like if you would file 0, if you have 0 deductions. So this might be a little high for a lot of people if you own a house, if you have kids, and that can change based off your own personal need. These numbers can change based off that. But it really at least gives you an idea of how much you're going to owe in taxes, which is super awesome. I mean, you can figure this out on your own by going to irs.gov, to that website, but it at least gives you an estimate of what to prepare for. So you're not stuck with a bill at the end of the year, or you're not having to pay back taxes again this year because you've been able to estimate for it. So then this goes over your profit or loss, which is the most important part. So here we have again, a tax breakdown. So we can see self-employment tax. This is an Oregon example, Oregon state income tax and federal income tax. So the total projected amount owed based off your $96,000 of revenue. Actually, yeah, and all of the expenses. So we go over that. First part of day 3, we also have a local tax accountant to come in and talk about all of your tax questions, because I am not qualified to answer intricate tax knowledge questions. Nor do I want to be. That sounds awful. Okay, so the second part of day 3 is what I really think is the coolest part of the whole thing, because this is where you start to get an idea of goals for your business. So we start to think about like what you're projected to get, what we've said, or what you did last year, the numbers you put in for last year, some break-even amounts. We'll go over what all that means, and some forecasting, which that part's the coolest part because you can really start to get an estimate of where you want your business to be. So in the break-even amounts, we talk about how much do you need just to be able to break even, and this gives you a few different break-even amounts. It gives you the break-even amount for if you're happy with, if those were numbers you put in last year, if you're happy with that ratio, then this is the 21:6 is the break-even amount that you need to do for weddings and portrait and family sessions. And this is a weighted average. We'll also talk about what weighted average means. And then we go through 50%. So this gives you a 50% estimate. If you want 50% of your money to come from weddings and portrait and family sessions, you'll still have $0 profit, but you're able to pay all of your fixed expenses and pay your salary that you've estimated for yourself. And then here you can put in, like, you can say, I did way too many weddings last year. That was like 90%. I want to take this down to 75. So we put it down to 75%, and then this gives us okay, that means you need 18 weddings and 13 portrait and family sessions. So that's the break-even amount. That means $0 profit, but you're able to pay for everything. Then we have a forecasting. So this is where it gets super cool. So you can put in last year's numbers, and here, you can have a few different areas. You can say, maybe you're booking so many weddings that you're like, I need to be able to cut this off. I don't want to burn myself out. But I don't know how much profit I can expect based off what I am projected or what I think that I'm going to be able to book this next year. So you say, here you can change this to, I'm going to do 21 weddings, or I think I'm going to be able to get about 21 weddings, and about, maybe you do one and a half a month for portrait and family sessions. So that means that at the end of the year, if you pay the fixed expenses and all the costs per wedding or per portrait and family session, and pay yourself what you've estimated you need to pay yourself, then your total profit at the end of the year will be $9,000. Conversely, if you don't think you're going to do very well this year, if your bookings are low, you're able to start to make some strategic decisions about that. So in portrait or in weddings, say that we booked 5 this year so far, and we're not looking that great for family sessions either. We've only been able to do about 8, or we think we're only going to be able to do 8. So here, this estimates what the contribution margin is from that, what you're able to pay yourself, and again this turns red because you're not able to pay yourself the full amount that you've estimated that you need to for your cost of living. And from that, we can make some strategic decisions about our business. We can either go get that money from somewhere else, from a day job. We can start to up our in-person sales for our weddings and how much product we sell. We can change our packages so that we're getting more margin from those packages. We can spend less time on each one. We can cut costs and cut expenses somewhere. But it's awesome because you really start to be able to see where all those dollars go, and you start to feel in control of your business and your money for the first time, which is like the best feeling. Even if you're not doing well and you feel like you're struggling, you're not getting those bookings, you're at least able to have the control over where those dollars go and where they're allocated. You're not making decisions randomly because someone gives you a call to put in an ad in a magazine. You're really able to strategically think about what's going to be the best for your business. So that is day 3. So it is a whirlwind workshop. It sounds, like it's very intense, but I promise that you will start to get a better understanding of the numbers for your business and start to feel empowered that you run an actual business instead of continuing to have a professional hobby. And again, you can bring this worksheet to your accountant or to your financial advisor, and they're going to be pretty impressed that you know how to do all of these things and that you know these things. And you can start from step 5. You can start from here instead of having to go through all of your taxes for the last 5 years before you can even start to think about these things. So the workshop is pretty time intensive and potentially financially a financial investment for you, but that's what it is. It's an investment. You get to keep this worksheet for your own business. You get to change it throughout the years. And you get to be able to go to your financial advisor in the future and save yourself thousands of dollars because they're going to charge you a lot of money to start at step 1 with your box of tax returns and receipts. So it's totally worth it. It's a big investment in your business, but you'll be able to start running it as an actual business. So it's pretty cool. So we have a few workshops coming up. We just announced one in LA in March. It's a retreat style workshop, so it's an intensive instead of an integrative style. You don't get that time in between to be able to integrate it in your business, but we're going to have some fun. We're going to get a cool Airbnb. It's going to be pretty awesome. We also have one coming up in Denver that we're announcing soon, probably end of January, early February. And we have some integrated workshops in Portland. So if you're in the area and if you want to be able to integrate it and work through it over a few months, then that is the place that you can be to sign up for that. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I'm always available through email. It's the best way to get a hold of me and ask questions about this. Sorry this video is so long, but thanks for sticking with me. Peace out, Girl Scout. Boop.